Hi, hope everyone. My name is Mr. Fruit, and welcome back to the GG Over Easy podcast, episode 195. I think I said the episode before, but whatever. In today's episode, Rob is a little MIA, so instead we have the one, the only Datto-san. Thank you, Datto, for joining us. We discuss, well, the first bit is a little strange. We start with Datto's musculature, somehow get to the Cold War, the world ending, but I don't know where it goes from there. Then we talk about the
Putin,
Destiny
we were
reveal.
talking about Putin.
Yeah, Putin, of course.
These nuts.
Destiny showcase, Destiny trailer reveal, our thoughts, data thoughts, community thoughts. Thank you for the yes, the product placement.
I'm gonna say
can't get any more, but I do appreciate it. Some Q&A, or no, I'm just so used to saying Q&A. Some other things, video game industry talk, all that stuff. Yeah, but you have the three of us to entertain your eyes and or ears. Hopefully your ears at the very least for the next however long this episode is. So let's get into it.
With the busy fall season just around the corner, you might be looking for some wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. I've been working out a ton lately, and there is so many days where I just don't want to get anything ready after a workout. I don't even want to make a smoothie. I don't even want to go pick up something from my local fast food place. I know burritos after a workout, they be hitting, but sometimes I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to drive there. That's when Factor comes in. I just throw it in the microwave, 2 minutes. I get a chef prepared gourmet meal, and it is so good, so delicious. And they have so many options for anyone, whether maybe you don't like red meat, maybe you just like chicken, maybe you're a pescatarian, you just want some fish. They have so many great options for you. Head to factormeals.com/GG50 and use code GG50 to get 50% off. That's code GG50 at factormeals.com/GG50 to get 50% off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GG Over Easy podcast, episode 195. 69. In today's episode, we have the one, the only...
BlueWestlo. Thank you very much for joining us, Blue.
That's me!
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for
Pleasure to have
you
on this
here.
Podcast.
Datto, might I say you were looking quite jacked today.
Thank you.
The working out has really been paying off.
What if I told you I haven't been working out for probably the past 6 months?
That's all that residual.
It's all that passive residual, yeah. The muscle doesn't... It takes a long time for muscle to go away. A lot of people don't realize that.
You got the muscle over time buff. So you don't get it all at once. Yeah, you just slowly... Which, let's talk about that. Why do apes, gorillas, monkeys, they all get jacked? They don't gotta do nothing. My dude's out there eating leaves, yacked. Like what? We gotta... It's something about, we don't have enough things to maintain muscles, and instead things for our brain or what? Bro, I'm saying I wouldn't be against being a little more monkey. That's all I'm saying. For whatever reason, our bodies just decided we don't need muscles as much, which that's the thing. It's it takes so much to upkeep our muscles because we're essentially, especially you have the crazy bodybuilders and stuff, but we are just not designed to have that. So in order to keep it, it's insane because our body is actively against us having muscles. What's that about?
I feel I don't know. I feel like I've read some stuff about how, in the past people were active all day. They're out here living in caves and stuff and having to hunt down their own food and all this other stuff. So they were just naturally sort of maintaining their own bodies and had I don't know how to tell you this, but I literally sit behind a desk for 12 hours a day, pretty much every day of my life, and don't get a lot of muscle doing that. So I think it has to do something with that, where it's we used to be like that a little bit, but that's because we were actually moving around every single day and doing things every single day. And now it's I make YouTube videos, and that's where we're at now and as a society.
Well, see, but that's the thing. Evolutionary wise, we don't adapt that fast. I mean, we're talking like the scale of like hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
So even I don't know. I'm sure there's like some reason for it, and I actually don't know. Like why? Like what do we like? There's got to be somebody on this, right? If we know the like genetic material, or if it's like some sort of a protein or something, why can't we just put in a little bit more of that?
Patch it in.
Because like that's what I'm saying.
Can we get God to give us an effing hot fix for once?
That's what I'm saying, dude. No patches since
This whole
release,
Where
bro?
is the dev time going?
This whole depression thing is also like a serious issue that we've been asking for a fix for hundreds of years. Like, when are we getting that patch?
Waiting for that bug fix any second now. But see, when he released it, that was back in the days of let's just release a game and we can't patch it. He just sort of sent it out, and
we need more patches.
That's fine. I mean, his new universes, bro. You should see what they got. We were like version 0.1. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to say, Unreal Engine is on 5. Real Engine, we're still on 1.0.
Have they ever thought about porting like us to Unreal Engine 5? Because it's looking really promising.
I think I'm onto something.
I feel like I feel like our current patch is really bad. Why not just port us to 5? IRL would be so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we are nearing. You know how Fortnite had a Chapter 2 update, when like years ago when they like update everything and there's the black hole and like Fortnite just disappeared for 3 days. I think we're reaching Earth Chapter 2. That's why we're speedrunning like climate change and stuff. This is to prep for this universe disappearing for a little while. Boom, we're back. Chapter 2, baby.
I think we're aiming for Chapter 3. Chapter 2 already happened. It was called The Invention of the Nuclear Bomb.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we haven't had complete global fallout from that yet. Who really knows?
We've definitely had the impending psychological terror instilled upon generations of humans.
Just ask my parents. Cold War, baby. Woo! Love that one.
That was a great arc in our like so many anime arcs are great, but that was a great one.
That one kind of you know how like Dragon Ball is like the father of so many anime arcs or whatever, like especially all like the tournament arcs and power up arcs. Cold War was kind of ahead of all that. I mean, Cold War kind of set the stage.
So the Cold War invented anime, is what you're saying.
That's actually, I mean, most anime, as we know today, was probably developed during the Cold War.
Sort of in the same thought process as nuclear war.
Speaking of the Cold War,
did you? Again, I don't even know why I'm like bringing this up. Remember, but there was that plane shot down in Russia, like a couple days ago. I forget the guy's name. But they're like, something like that, and they're like, "Oh, aviation problem. It just fell out of the sky. Oops!" And then you realize it was one of the guys who tried to rise a coup up against Putin, and then like backed out last second, and then totally thought it would be super. I'm gonna be fine now, no problem. And then it suddenly, it's just weird. Like, does he think people buy it?
Absolutely not. But like he doesn't care.
Somebody has to.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't care at this point. I feel like at some point people were buying it, but now it's just like, no one.
It's kind of crazy because when you get to that level of dictatorship, people do buy it in Russia for sure.
Well, what's crazy
absolutely
is
no doubt.
I was watching a video. I never even thought about this. Didn't even realize it. But like he has doubles, lots of them, multiple apparently, that just look like Putin. I mean. Who does? They found some people that really look like Putin.
Do you think one of his doubles is like, haha, Putin these nuts in your mouth?
No.
Because that's what I would do.
And then he falls out of a 9-story balcony.
Yeah, I was going to say, because suddenly he's on a plane. And but yeah, it's just so strange. I don't know. To live in a world where like that's... And then to think, you go home. How was work, honey? I think I pulled off Putin pretty well today, babe. Because there was some video where somebody was dissecting. It's like, yo, Putin's double made a mistake. He tried to look at his left hand because that's typically where not Putin. This guy has his watch, but Putin always has it on his right. So he like, oops. Even though like I think they were just looking. But that's when I started going down the rabbit hole of like actual body doubles, and it's like, bro, that's crazy. Could not be me. Imagine you. Well, I guess you are that important, but like that's just one of the things you have.
Yeah.
Body doubles. Now, granted, there are a lot of us. I mean, Datto and I are practically body doubles. Any white dude with brown hair and glasses is practically my body double. So I mean,
there are millions of us.
Quite literally. I get reminded all the time.
I get so many Twitter posts of just like, hey, found you at blah, blah, blah. And it's some guy that like vaguely looks like me, but their hair's like super long and something like that. It's like, yeah, I just...
White dude.
That's all it takes is brown hair, glasses, you know, roughly 5'9", 5'10". That's it. That's all it takes.
Hey, I'm right there with you. That's above average. Not that that's, you know, something to worry about. But anywho, speaking of patch in the world, and Monkey. Okay.
Yeah.
But again,
we went from Blue complimenting me on how I look muscular to body doubles of Putin in how long? Less than 10 minutes.
Oh, I mean, we could get I only stopped this. I mean, we could keep going.
No, I've pretty much run my entire knowledge of Putin body doubles right there.
Yeah, mine's pretty finite. To bring it back to Monkey, it's just like their body holds onto the proteins and stuff. And so there's like, essentially they just don't degrade. But humans, their muscle degradation is so fast. And I'm sure there's a scientific reason. But I never looked it up.
Feel free to post now, scientists, in the comments.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody knows.
It's me. I'm a scientist, Smile.
Hi, I'm science.
So anywho, thank you, Datto. Obviously, Rob is not here with us today. Made it sound like he was dead.
He died.
Rob is no longer with us.
Rob is no longer with us.
No, Rob is... I actually don't know where Rob is. But he left for like 4 or 5 days. Because he had a wedding last weekend. But I don't know what he...
Yeah, did he finish his subathon thing?
No. The second break. Well, we talk... Okay, so this is a funny thing. Calling out Joey here. Because Rob and I make fun of Joey all the time for this. Joey's done like 1 or 2 subathons. Where he obviously does the subathon. And for those unaware, we've talked about it before, but like you're streaming. And every time somebody subs or something, or you can have like other incentives, it adds to a timer. And essentially you stream until the timer stops. And so it could be short, it could be really long. You know, famously there was like Ludwig's 2 years ago or whatever, where he went for like over a month. And then at some point made it so it just stopped. Like no more adding time because like I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
So that's what a subathon can be. And the whole thing is like, well, you're there, and like even Ludwig started like you're sleeping on stream. You're practically always on stream. And then Joey did the subathon, and he was just streaming. He's like, all right, guys, I'm gonna head off, go to bed, and I'll just see you guys tomorrow when I pick up stream. After he like wakes up and does some things, I'm like, Joey, that's just streaming. That's not a subathon. If you just stop whenever and resume the next day, my guy, that's streaming. You know what I'm saying?
That's normally streaming. He's like, hey guys, I'm gonna keep streaming until well, people used to do that where it was like they would do some type of themed stream for as long as like people subbed. It was like a healthier subathon. But like, yeah, Joe was like, yeah, I'm
subathons there are not healthy.
Dude, they're so... Anytime someone does a subathon, I'm like, cringe. Except for when my friends do it. Then I'm like, no, it's still kind of cringe. Take care of yourself, King. Like,
here's the thing. If I ever did a subathon, there would be, which I don't think I have any inclination to do so, because it sounds like my literal nightmare. There are times during my day where I'm like, man, if anyone saw me right now,
Exactly,
I
dude.
am not in a mental place.
I'd be like, they would
to have anybody.
ringle dingle at me.
Yeah, they will. Well, it's more so just like I'll have a mental breakdown. I would have like a Nuzlocke. I would have a mental health clause of like, if I stay on stream any longer, I'm going to break down. So let's take a little breather, which is why I don't do subathons, because I know I would lose it. So kudos though, like Rob ended up. I mean, even though he took like the little wedding break, I think they just mentioned that his actual stream had ended. I think the actual subathon ended like
Oh,
yesterday.
okay.
I think, or like like yesterday morning. I don't know. I saw him tweet at like 5 a.m. saying good night. So I think that must have been when the subathon ended. I don't know. I'm assuming if that's the case and he knew it, then I'm assuming he's like, I don't know, maybe taking just a little breather and chilling with Sydney or something.
Let me. I'm gonna check his past broadcast real quick. Yeah, I've never done like a subathon either. I've tried to do, some kind of like 24-hour stream, and obviously I've done one not specifically with the intent of doing a 24-hour stream, but it's a lot. It is so much. I'm considering doing an unsubathon when I start my sabbatical.
I love
Where
those.
anytime someone subs, the timer gets shorter.
Oh,
And if you
those are
send proof that you
please.
unsubbed because I'm going to be gone for a little bit, then the timer will get longer.
Yes.
That's pretty funny. So yeah, it was sort of like the same thing. So like he ended up having to take it off for like the wedding, but that's just like, I think that's the difference with me and some people is my crippling. How do I say this? If I tell somebody I'm going to do something, even if it's not a big deal to them, I'm mortified if I don't do it. I feel like I have to do it. So if I was like, I got a subathon, it doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I like, there's a wedding, I would be like, either one, if I knew it was coming, I wouldn't have done the subathon, or like two, well, I got to figure out some way. Like, how long is the wedding? Can I bring, like, I would feel obligated. Even though I already know for a fact, if I'm like, hey guys, there's like a wedding. People like, dude, it's cool. You know, take
Like,
the
I
day,
didn't think
whatever.
it was gonna last. I think that's what Rob was maybe thinking. He was like, I didn't think it was gonna go this long.
Whereas like, take a
I
break.
thought like
It's all good.
2-3 days.
Or like Ludwig when he's like over a month and he's like, what the fuck? But see, you could tell me, but my mind is still like, it's not okay. You said you were gonna do this. You got to do this. Okay.
I have a similar
I don't know
sort of
why.
vibe, just like even sticking to a stream schedule in general, where I stream 3 days a week. But if I tell people the day before that I'm going to stream, but something comes up that day where I'm just like, I really shouldn't, and like, just being like, I really don't want to stream, I'm just not into it. Danielle is always telling me like, you could just, not stream and it would be fine and people would understand. But then I'm just like, yeah, but I told people that I was gonna.
Yeah.
And then if I don't, they'll be like, what is going on? And then they'll just go to a different stream.
Never
And that'll be
forgive
the end
me.
of it. And then they'll see me the next time. But I'm in the similar mindset where I'm just like, I told people I was gonna do it. I said I was gonna, so I gotta.
It's why I've never really done schedules. Just because of that, of like, I'm gonna have a hard time. I know with everything coming up, it's hard to stick to it. So I don't post it because I know it's hard to keep it up. I'm gonna let somebody down, and then I'm gonna feel miserable. So like, typically I'm one of those like, I'm not telling you I'm doing something until I'm doing it, or like I have done it.
I used to be like that, but I think because I've stuck to a schedule for so long now that I'm more okay with it. Because before I used to be like, I was mainly doing YouTube content. I didn't really think of myself as a streamer. So it took a lot more to like get me going for the streams, and I just wasn't used to that. And there were some days where I was like, nah. There would be some weeks where I'd be like, nope, don't wanna. I'd stream one day on Tuesday and that's it. But now I think that I've gotten more comfortable with like my schedule and just like what the stream content is and my own work schedule and just all that kind of stuff. it's not nearly as bad. But there are definitely days where I'm just like, oh my God, I really just don't. It's either like I have too much work to do, or I am just literally not in any kind of a mood to stream at all. Because it would just, I'd rather have no stream than a bad one.
Pardon your regularly scheduled podcast listening for this short ad break.
With the busy fall season just around the corner, you might be looking for some wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. I've been working out a ton lately, and there is so many days where I just don't want to get anything ready after a workout. I don't even want to like make a smoothie. I don't even want to go pick up something from like my local fast food place. I know like burritos after a workout, they be hitting, but sometimes I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to drive there. That's when Factor comes in. I just throw it in the microwave, 2 minutes. I get a chef prepared gourmet meal, and it is so good, so delicious. And they have so many options for anyone, whether maybe you don't like red meat, maybe you just like chicken, maybe you're a pescatarian, you just want some fish. They have so many great options for you. Head to factormeals.com/GG50 and use code GG50 to get 50% off. That's code GG50 at factormeals.com/GG50 to get 50% off.
I think there's two main reasons for me. One, my days are, as much as I would like them to, usually a little unpredictable in that, like, I can do this. Oh, I'll edit this. It won't take 6 hours later. Or like, oh, I'll do a little thumbnail. Why is this thumbnail taking 3 hours? There's always video stuff that I can't account for that always, like, up and down. So that's, like, number one. Because I've always said it, like, I'm a YouTuber first. When YouTube is done, then it's like, okay, do I have free time? Okay, then I'll think about streaming. But it's like a hierarchy. So that's number one for me. And then number two is, there's a lot of time, especially during the day or when I'm in certain things where it's just like, I am not mentally prepared or emotionally prepared to stream or have people interacting with me. And just like that, I'm the same way where it's like, so why would I stream? If I stream, I want it to be, which is why, like, I felt bad when I got, like, sick randomly that one time, right before my surgery. For, like, 2.5 weeks, I couldn't talk. Eventually, at the end of it, towards the end, I was like, okay, I'll stream. I can't talk. But I didn't stream for so long just because it's like, well, I can't talk. Like, what's the point? Where some people are like, we just want to chill with you. So I did it once, but it was just the same thing where it's like, well, it's not going to be the same. So what's the point?
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm entertaining you. I just feel like I'm sitting here.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people use me and my streams as like white noise for sleeping. Instead of looking up like rain on metal shingles in the city, they just go Mr. Fruit Stream.
Mr. Fruit Stream. Yeah, I joke about that all the time too, and I get comments every once in a while that's just like, I love using your stream as just background noise as I play Destiny, and I'm just like, hey, you know what?
Thanks.
That's one more viewer that I would have had, had you not done it. So I'll take it. If you're gonna do that to anyone, might as well do it here.
Well, there's no better segue than this. Speaking of streaming, new Destiny 2 Season of the Witch, as well as the Final Shape Showcase. Now, obviously, since we have you on, people are probably going to want to hear what you have to say about the Final Shape. So, Blue and I can probably share our meaningless opinions first. And then we'll get Datto to weigh in on it. Blue, do you want to start with your reactions to mainly the showcase? You can sort of talk about the season, but one way or the other.
The season's pretty good. I actually like the season. Yeah, that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah, that's
I do like. Yeah, I'm not even gonna. I'm just gonna be real with you, y'all. Y'all, that showcase was mid as fuck. I don't understand why. I think I understand why they didn't show off too much because they are 6 months away, but I was expecting a little bit more. I'm expecting them to show off more as well. It's not like I know this is the only reveal they're going to do. I'm sure they're going to show off more gameplay. They're going to show off more like features they have that they're working on. But I will say, if they don't, that would be so catastrophic. If they just introduce 3 new Seepers, what's wrong with me? If they just introduce 3 new supers for the new X-Pack, and like, what is it, like 1 new aspect for like each of those subclasses, that's going to be super disappointing. I guess for me, I was kind of expecting another subclass because this is kind of the finale. It would feel a little weird for us not to get a new subclass, but I guess I kind of understand why they wouldn't. And then the destination also just kind of being like a conglomerate of places we've already been is like, yeah, like that's a bullet that I'm sure they're gonna shoot eventually, but I'm still a little wary. I feel like I wasn't expecting like a Forsaken or a Taken King level X Pack because I'm sure we're never gonna get that again. But I am a little worried that we might not even get like a Witch Queen level X Pack. Also, the new seasons they revealed, the episodes just kind of seemed like Seasons Plus to me, and I don't know why they did all this marketing for it when it kind of just seems like, hey, these are seasons we're gonna charge you more money for. I could be wrong, but
I think it's because of the stink like the word season has right now in Destiny. Even if it is similar, people are tired of it and they want something new. So instead of just saying, "Hey, it's Seasons Plus," you're like, "Well," you say,
I think it's also about the like story content that's going to be delivered within those as well. I think I mean, it is a marketing thing to call something, an episode over a season, because when you think season, you think of a more typical live service experience. You think of your Apex, your Fortnite, your all that kind of stuff. Whereas this is them trying to potentially make a shift in how they handle storytelling,
100%, yeah.
and just be like, this is episode 1. Here's the POV of whatever, I don't know, the Elixni. Here's how they reacted to the end of the final shape situation, and like here's the thing with the Awoken, and then and they all feel like their own thing versus like a continuous chain that we've kind of experienced now.
Yeah, I think.
But I'll let you keep going.
I think that's what they mentioned is like, one, I think they'll be available all the time, but also, yeah, they're self-contained, so you can come back and play it, the story, and it's not like right now with seasons where it's like I remember coming back and there's something, and I was like, wait, dude, Osiris came back, he drank what? And it was like, I just missed a season or two, and then I'm lost in the story, and then someone's like, oh, okay. Whereas this case, I think it'll be more so like, okay, well, if you didn't see episode 1, well, you can just play episode 2. That's separate. Obviously, you'll want to have played Final Shape, assumedly.
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't forget what they've said exactly, but I'm pretty sure all of the episodes deal with stuff that happens as a result of the Final Shape. So yeah, if you don't play Final Shape and then you play this, you're gonna have spoilers and you might be a little confused. But I think something like that is okay, given that the entire point of the episodes is to expand upon the finale of Final Shape and all this.
As for my thoughts on the showcase, pretty similar boat as Blue. Because for me, I more or less walked away and I was like, what did we learn we didn't really already know? Which
that's the biggest thing for me is this reveal was like, you didn't show us too much more than like the reveal teaser.
I feel like the beats were, here's a new super. But mind you, I think it would have been different too if it's like, oh, okay, 1 new super, like 3 new supers. 1 new super for each light subclass. But it's only 1 per class. But they're like, hey, new supers, new aspects. As like sort of beat 1. 2, you're going the Traveler, here's the Pale Heart. Here's how it's going to narratively tie in, and then when you're done with it, it opens up the campaign or whatever. And then more or less like narrative 3 was like, hey, Cade's back. We told you that, but hey, remember, Cade is back. Which is for obviously the normies.
They did the whole like like best of Cade, and I was like, who's this for?
I mean, I did enjoy
It's
it.
it's for the nostalgia lords. I think
I
something
enjoyed the
that
nostalgia.
a lot of people to kind of give a take on what you guys have been saying, because it's it's something that I've seen a lot of, is that they said that this was going to be a very high level, it needs to appeal to literally everyone who's ever played this game kind of a thing. This showcase was for everyone. It's not just the dedicated audience. Even you guys, like I would still call you guys dedicated, but you're not like on the game every single day and like grinding all the things and blah blah blah. Like you're not as in tune with the people who do that, but you're more in tune than the more casual audience. But the whole showcase was supposed to be for people who maybe didn't even see the teaser, or like don't really pay attention to Destiny too much, or they only play the expansion and then that's it. That's who this thing was for. If you were following the game very diligently, sure, probably not too many things are going to surprise you that much. And they said, like, look, it's going to be pretty broad. We're not going to be mentioning like these systems updates that you like the more dedicated audience is going to care about, because people who don't play the game that actively are just not even going to know what the hell we're talking about. We got to hit all the big points, and then we'll get more focused down as the year goes on, because we want to focus those finer details for the people who are still actively playing the game. So I think that's where some of that disappointment is maybe coming from.
Well, see, I have a counterpoint, because I went in knowing that, because like the whole Joe Blackburn thing, that's what he talked about, and he's like, like he referenced to it, it's like it's not going to show the the revamp we have for Xur systems and like that kind of stuff. So I didn't expect that kind of stuff. But for me, just like that, we need to go broad strokes and then down. Okay, well, if I'm a normie and I'm watching this, and maybe I want to get back into it, though, like the way I see it is like that's the best they have to show for Final Shape to get everyone back into it. Now, maybe that's not the case. What I'm probably thinking is they needed something just to remind some people, hey, this is where we're going. And I'm assuming we'll get like another showcase or something with like the final season when it's a little bit closer, because we're still half a year out. So maybe they are still holding some cards close to home, reveal them later. But like if this was it and you wanted all the normies, one new subclass, hey, you remember those things you played? They'll be back. And then like, hey, your character's back. Whereas I would expect just a little more like content. I didn't need systems, but just like, hey, here's more things to do and play with the Final Shape. That's what I was expecting. So who knows? My theory is just that, or the cope. Who knows which it is? But there's still more to reveal. They just didn't want to do it all. It was more so like a, hey, here's something to sprinkle in. Remember, this is what we're doing. Here's a little bit of tidbit. Hey, our new season. And then also, like, we're doing stuff after Final Shape, just so you guys were, like, aware. Destiny's not dying. Go play Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm hoping there will be, like, a more... Because, like, that's just it. If that didn't feel like a 10-year culmination of, like... We brought it all together, and we had this pictured, and also we delayed this for a year, more or less. I don't know if that's still been confirmed with the whole Lightfall thing, but like we needed more time, and this is it.
I think it's gonna play a lot better than it has been watched. I do think that they have learned some lessons from Lightfall. I think they've learned lessons from the Witch Queen, because like the Witch Queen campaign was amazing, and if I think they know, like, okay, we need to like essentially make it Witch Queen and then some. And I would here's something I'd want to do is I would want to go back and watch the Witch Queen showcase again, or like the Lightfall showcase again, and be like, okay, what were like the big differences between these showcases, and why do people maybe think Final Shape was not as enticing? Like if Final Shape had a new subclass, would it have been like that much more enticing, where it's like, all right, I'm in. If everything else is the same, the entire showcase is the same, except replace the new supers with a new subclass, you're in. If that's
I would
the
have been
case.
more excited.
Okay.
Just
I would have
because
been. I would have
sandbox
felt
wise,
like,
it opens
yeah,
up
this
more.
is what I expected from the showcase at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Would you
just
say that at least it makes some amount of sense that we're getting light-based stuff as we're literally going into the Traveler?
does make
I'm
sense.
cool with that. I would have been more cool if we had also, which maybe we still do. I think for me, I would have liked to see a bigger, like, oh, we're also adding aspects to other subclasses, and then at the same time, we still don't have new supers for Stasis. After all this time, we still don't have like a lot of updates to Stasis. A lot of people still love Stasis, be included, and it just feels like it's got left behind. So that's kind of the big thing. Like, I would have expected Stasis to get something new by now.
That is fair.
When Light has gotten the rub for like the past couple of years. So, and then I think also as a Warlock main, seeing Sunsinger come back was also like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
So like my hype wasn't quite as high.
That is something I definitely am like, yeah, I can understand if Warlocks were like a little disappointed by like, oh, Radiant's
I don't
coming
even play
back.
Warlock, and I'm like,
they're like 3 new supers.
Yeah.
I was like,
yo, check out my
3 new
axes.
supers. Yeah, and then I saw Titan the axe is like, that's sick. I saw the Hunter one, I was like, that's pretty cool. And then the Sunsinger one, I was like,
Yay.
that's certainly
underwhelming.
new.
Yeah, that I totally am on board with. It's just like, ooh, everyone's getting new toys, and then Warlocks are getting Radiants.
That's certainly new. Yep.
I think one
yeah,
other thing
that I'm totally I'm on board with.
there's part of it too, like with the subclass thing too, is like Bungie didn't come out and say, hey, there's going to be a third subclass. Or, I mean, I'm assuming at some point we're going to get a third Darkness subclass. But again, they haven't said that, so who knows? But that was sort of the expectation I feel like was set. And I think myself and others just sort of had, but that's not a Bungie's fault. They never, set that expectation necessarily.
Yeah, I get that.
It's just
And
with
it was
the previous
also
expansions.
exacerbated by some like sort of leaks that were on someone's like art page where like it showed like a new icon for a super or something like that, and everyone just sort of ran with it that it was like, oh, they're making another subclass. So I think there's also that expectation based on that too, which again is like not even fair to like assume that.
So like that knock isn't necessarily their fault because that was setting an expectation that they hadn't promised us.
Right.
It was just more so like, oh, that would be cool, and oh, that makes sense. Like thinking about it, and oh yeah, for the final and the whole light dark, and then you didn't get it, and then I think for me it was just, again, they have to reveal more, but like, okay, so campaign, there will be a raid. Kate's back in the story, and then I'll have a new super to play with. But it was like, okay, well, what else? I just want to know.
I think that's
a little bit more of like, what am I going to be playing?
I think that's the big thing. Is fundamentally where you're coming from is where I'm coming from. Where I don't feel like, besides the new supers, I really saw anything new in Destiny. Because, like, even the new enemy type, like, it's just Rulk. Just mini Rulks.
It's big
right?
Rulk. Yeah.
It's
mini Rulk.
Well, I'm worried it's going to be a fun enemy they never use again.
Sick. That another thing for me. I'm like, can't wait to see them in the campaign and maybe the raid and never see them again. I didn't see anything like truly new. And again, maybe they're saving that for like more down the line because they are like 6 months from the X packs. I get that, but like we got mini Rulks, seen it before. They're cool, but seen it before. The new supers are cool. One of the supers isn't actually new. We got teased for new aspects. That's new, but we don't know what they are yet. And obviously, they're not going to show it off immediately. But
we
besides
do know what
that,
the new aspects are.
Wait, we do? What are they?
I mean, the Warlock one is Solar Soul.
The shield.
The Titan has the grenade shield thingy.
Well, I mean, like
and then the Hunter has like the uppercut.
They haven't like revealed like all the fine details about them though, right? Like the benefits and stuff.
But see, I mean, that's the same thing as like
just
normie
whatever was in there.
showcase. They're not gonna.
Well, see,
Yeah,
for
that-
me, that's my shit. I want to know all the
Right.
finer details. What are the benefits?
so-
What are the bonuses?
So that's gonna come with
And
the
I'm sure
coming
that
months.
will. Yeah, and so that's where I'm like, yeah, that's new, cool. We'll see more of that later. But beyond that, I already knew Cade was coming back, and I'm also pretty indifferent about that. We
Mhm.
already knew we were going into the Traveler. We already knew the Witness was like, oh, I'm a smoky boy. We already knew a lot of things. I think this reveal would have been received naturally a lot better if they didn't like do the big Cade reveal several months beforehand.
Oh,
Because I
100%.
feel like that took a lot of steam out of.
That would have been a bigger talking point instead. People didn't know
Yeah.
that and be like, whoa.
Mhm.
Because beyond
Yeah.
Cade, like let's assume they didn't reveal final shape at the couple months before. The
Mhm.
Cade reveal would have been hype, but besides the Cade reveal, there's not like a whole lot of like genuine like super new stuff that we've seen. I will say I do like the art style of them. They were like, "What's the art style being inside the Traveler? Minecraft. Give this motherfucker a raise. Blocks, baby. Let's get it."
Um,
I still liked it, but like it was not like it just wasn't it just wasn't like a cunt slay like down the house boots, you know what I mean?
Same.
Um.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
finish
Sorry.
mine
You.
because
Yeah.
you made a good point about like go back and look at other showcases. So I just want to like say that you're probably right. If we go back, there's probably not much of a difference. And again, I think it's part of this too, where as a player and a veteran, I was just expecting more, whether or not they promised, but just
Yeah.
thinking, okay, 10-year finale. This is what it's all been leading up to. Surely there's something that's gonna surprise me or wow me. That's what I was hoping for, I think. And that's why I was disappointed in that everything I saw, I was like, okay, well, that was expected. There wasn't
Everything we've been
anything
building
that,
up for.
Mhm.
I feel like 10 years got to
10
be something
years.
they're gonna. And so that's why I'm still on the Cope train. That wasn't all of it. They're gonna hold some cards. Obviously, we'll never really hear anything about the raid. Although it was interesting that they noted that we fight the Witness in the raid, but it doesn't necessarily end there. There will be some like match-made activity afterwards to actually finish the Witness or whatever, I'm assuming, which would make sense because normies.
Kind of a non raid finale was definitely going to be needed if we were going to fight the Witness in the raid.
I mean, at the end of the raid, like we like there's like a cutscene that plays with us like laying next to the Witness, and our Guardian's like, so what are we? And like that's going to be like the post finale.
So
yeah, there's got to be something for them.
I just think that's why I was disappointed. I was expecting something. But whoa!
I think they were really focused on making sure. Like, I think the bulk. I mean, I don't know how outrageous of a thing this is to say, but it seems like they were focused on the bulk of Final Shape being about the campaign experience. They didn't want to really focus on too many feature sets or this or that. They're just like, look, it's story time. We're dumping everything we can dump into the story to make it as good as possible. And that's where I feel like there's a lot of hesitation from the community, is just like, we didn't get to see a lot of that, but also why would they reveal so much of like the story beats and all this kind of stuff in the showcase when they have the game that's going to do that?
Yeah.
But in terms of like new subclass, I can understand being a little disappointed. Like, there's perhaps a community built assumption that there was going to be like 3 and 3. Totally get that. I do think the light supers were a fun reveal just because it wasn't expected. But also I do feel like we're kind of hitting the point with Destiny where like there's only so many new features that they could, or like new systems that they could really introduce into the game at this point. Not to say that they're completely tapped on that. I think this season has kind of shown like they're willing to get pretty weird with some stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to call you both jaded to the experience, even though I do think you are a little bit. I think I'm just like I've kind of let that part of me go, and now I'm just kind of more just like
And
we're
you're
getting what we
calling
get.
us jaded?
Like, and I'm pretty jaded. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of jadedness to me. But I think I'm just more like we're gonna get what we're gonna get, and I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I can possibly enjoy it. And after that, cool. Like I watched obviously I watched the showcase as well, and I was pretty excited, but I also knew to keep things in check because I knew a lot of the things. I mean, the thing that I cared about the most it didn't even come to the end. I wanted to know what was happening after. It's like, yeah, we know Witness. We're gonna fight the Witnesses. Big finale. Got it. What happens after that? That's the thing I care about the most. And even still, like I still have some questions. I want to know, like, yeah, forget 2024. I'm in 2025 already, baby.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Final shape, Witness, cool.
Well, because
What's coming after that, baby?
Joe did mention when he was talking about it, like years to come. So we got episode 1, 2, and 3, which is the first year, but then it's sort of that where like I look at it sort of where we are in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, okay, so sweet, Infinity War, Thanos, yes, we got it. So now what? What are we doing? Like, what's the promise? And now we're sort of getting to it, but I'm right there with you too, where it's like, what does the future look like? Where are we going?
I think. And here's the thing is that like Bungie doesn't have like a Marvel universe to pull from. They are they're making it up right now. They are probably just now working on like, okay, what's the next big threat? Is this going to be another 5-year, 10-year story? Are we going to tell smaller stories? Are we going to go somewhere else? Like they are probably just now at the point, like even locking down what the 2025 expansion, 2026 expansion, if we even get these expansions, what those things are even going to look like. And I think that has been where my head has been at, really, is just like, what is the future going to be like? And is Bungie going to be able to keep people excited about the game after this big finale? Because I do think that a lot more people are going to leave the game than are going to join it with whatever, if we have a 2025 expansion, whatever that ends up being.
I've gotten a lot of comments that are like, yeah, I'm just hanging around for that last thing, then I'm like hanging it up. Just feels like I just want the closure.
Which is
I'm not really playing anymore.
Totally acceptable. Like you've been doing a thing for 10 years, you've been following along for a story for 10 years. You're just kind of like, all right, I'm satisfied. I'm good. I'm going to dip. But yeah, with regards to the showcase itself, I'm willing to kind of wait it out a little bit more for those more intricate kind of details and everything like that. But part of me is kind of like, how many more new featured things can they really shove? Like LFG feels like one of like the last major additions to the game. Like super, super big undertaking. And then after that, I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know how they keep coming up with like different stuff. I mean, I think some inspiration now is like pulling from other genres. We had the roguelite stuff last season. We have a little bit of the deck building stuff this season. The deck building stuff is seemingly incredibly light, but I get that, it's their first time. It's, they're trying it out. Like, all right, what does this look like at the most basic level? Okay, here's what it looks like. Here's what we can do. Here's what we can't. Now let's iterate on it more. So like, I think that's been an awesome move. But in terms of final shape, yeah, my expectation going in was just like, dump it all into the story. Everything you got, make sure the campaign's good. Make sure you got that legendary campaign. Make sure it's good. Make sure we have a fun conclusion. Make sure we have a banger raid. Barely
know her.
And then I think a lot of people will kind of be good. And I think also Bungie kind of knows that there are going to be a lot of people who play the campaign. Maybe they play the raid, maybe, and then they just dip. They're not going to even engage with like, oh, well, we have 2 new activities.
Right.
Don't care. I'm here for the story, and then I'm out. And I think Bungie recognize that, and that's why they're investing so much specifically into the campaign to make sure that those people end on a good note.
To your credit too, I didn't even occur to me because I'm just sitting there. I'm with you. I'm assuming I am very hopeful that like this campaign's gonna bang, because I'm sort of with you. Like, first off, like they had to have learned from Lightfall. They picked up a lot of beats from Witch Queen. They're taking extra time. It's the finale. I think they're gonna nail that. So like I'm not even taking into the whole like, oh well, here's the story and here's the campaign, even though like obviously that's the bulk of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm already assuming like, oh yeah, I'm gonna enjoy that. So the problem for me is that's what I was looking at it. Even though I was like, yeah, it's still high level for a lot of people. I think I was still expecting too much of just like, even as a veteran, I want to see something I wouldn't have expected or something to engage, because I'm also thinking of like, okay, yeah, campaign. That'll be sweet. I hope it's fun. But then like when I'm done, what do I have to engage in? Because even though like Witch Queen campaign was awesome, I'm not going back and replaying it,
Right.
So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's going to be sick. Can't wait to see the finale. So like, now what am I going to do after that? So that's, I think, again, probably the problem with how me and many more people were approaching it, is looking at it like that. Whereas I think you're right. They went omega high level of just like, hey, by the way, this is the story. This is where we're going, where we're headed. You'll get your ending, and then we'll see how the ending plays out. I think the only thing I'm worried about is I don't want to play Final Shape and then like episode 1 or episode 2 comes out and it's like, this feels like it was just taken from Final Shape. And like we didn't get as much in Final Shape so that they could piecemeal it out.
I think
that's what I'm worried
they have learned that lesson, and I personally don't think that's going to happen. I can understand that being a worry based on how Lightfall went, but I think Final Shape, I think they know like we need to deliver the whole everything that we could possibly give them in Final Shape, give people that conclusion, and then episode 1, 2, 3 that deals with the aftermath essentially of Final Shape. I am pretty darn confident that they're not gonna like piecemeal out some extra things at the end of Final Shape, or rather that would not be within the expansion itself, and as opposed to like part of an episode or something like that.
I like the healing auto rifles. There were some
Very
like,
interested to see how that's gonna play out. Yeah.
I was already thinking like, how are people going to abuse this? I'm already worried.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But like for me, that was cool. Even just seeing like, those are the fun things. Like, oh, it's a new like mini rocket pistol archetype. Like I like those things. I'm like, ooh, new guns. Actual like, not just, well, this is an aggressive frame now with 40 more rate of fire, where it's like a completely new weapon system to play with. I always like those. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think the problem was everything I saw was fine, but I like my checklist before was like one thing surprised me. And it was all, like you said, within the realm, but I think that was the expectation I had of like, if they're gonna come out with something new or like a system, this would be the time, I feel. So that's why I think I was like, yeah, riding that high. We didn't get it. That was all right, I guess. So
I think there's only so many ways to surprise as well. It's like when you know what's like, to use your Infinity War thing, that analogy is like, we all know it's coming to the end. We all know Thanos, like we know how this goes down. Was that like a similar vibe like during that era of like Infinity War, where it's like, yeah, we know Infinity War is coming. We know Endgame's coming. Do you have that kind of same mentality?
I was more excited for that, but I think
it was exciting because there was so much that they hadn't done yet that they were saving for that. And we knew they were saving a lot of things for it, so when it finally happened, it was like, yes, finally.
Mhm.
I think the main what to like Blue was saying, I think the main thing was I was still waiting to see how they were gonna put everyone into a movie. Because like before this we
Mm.
had like one cameo here or like brief seconds, but like now you're telling me, all how in the world are they gonna fit all those people into one movie? That
Mhm.
was still the expectation, but like now I think Marvel's struggling with the same thing. They did that. And now the audience is like sort of the same thing with Destiny. Like, okay, well, you got something new because like seen this, done that,
I mean,
expect
I'd
Yeah,
say
this.
how's it?
there's, I'd say the big difference is they peaked so hard to a level that is like we've never seen in the entertainment industry, and now it's like, how do we reach that peak before? My issue with Destiny is, when are y'all gonna hit that peak that you guys keep telling me you're gonna hit, but then they keep on like piecemealing it throughout time, and like slowly they get there. The game has been solid for a couple years at this point, but for me it's like, the difference for me is like with Marvel, it's like they hit the potential, now they have to like find a new peak. Whereas with Destiny, it's like I still never felt like Destiny hit its proper peak.
Mhm.
So I'm like Forsaken and Taken King are like, they were almost there.
I think those also had the benefit of like the entire year before were kind
100%.
of
Not for sure.
Dog.
disasters.
They
So like there's
were
only you could only
calamitous.
go up from there.
Yeah.
And I think now that Destiny has kind of had this like pretty steady content pipeline and things have been like mostly good, but never like, I'd say I'd give Witch Queen that like little kind of clipping up peaking moment with the
I would too.
campaign and everything. Um, because it's just kind of been at that same like pretty good, but never like super holy crap kind of level that like, yeah, I forgot the end of this statement. That it's just maybe harder to hit some of those higher expectations at this point, or those higher peaks that I think people like want to see the game hit. But I would also have to like ask, what does that look like? What is reaching a new peak in Destiny even look like to you, to me, to people watching, to a more casual audience? Like, what does that new peak look like?
Well,
I don't know. That's Bungie's job.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't know what the peak looks like, but that speaks to the same thing I have about the video game industry these days, where it's like, in almost a way, is it like always having this middling stuff hurting it? Because then you sort of get like numb to it. Because for me, it's like Apex Legends launched. Bro, this is sick. Love
Mhm.
this. Season 1, sweet. Season 2, okay. Season 23, all right. Whereas like back in the day, it'd be like Apex Legends. And then you play that for a while, and there's some good stuff. All right, and then you just kind of fizzle out and you play some other stuff. Apex Legends 2, hype again. It's like, whoa, big thing. Here's the changes, and then so it's like there's no winning because like before it was like big peak, but you fizzle out pretty quick. Like you run those days you ran out of content or whatever. Like you're done with it. Okay, that's just it.
Mhm.
Oh, but then we're getting the sequel now, or whatever. Whereas now it's like, okay, well, you sort of, but then we got a little bit more, and so it's like we don't hit the same highs, but we don't hit the same lows. So it's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I feel like
It's
either way. I'm
I
assuming,
mean, it's good and bad, really. I mean,
yeah,
you have to figure out a way to keep the game entertaining for people, but you can't also dramatically change it so much that you alienate the people that you have there, right?
Fortnite learned that.
Uh, this is, I mean, this is like a piece of advice that I've been trying to give myself lately, or like over the past few years when it comes to streaming and like numbers and stuff, where I'm like, focus on the people who are there, not the people who aren't. And I feel like game dev with some of these live service games kind of takes a little bit of a similar approach where it's like we need to make sure the people who are here are entertained. Obviously they want to pull in, new people to keep growing. That's understandable, but eventually you kind of hit a point like Apex Legends, like season 23. You hit a point where the game knows what it is. Like, we know what Apex Legends is. Like, it's going to be this. Things are not really going to change that dramatically. So how do you so what's the process there? Do we try to pull in new people? Do we try to change things? If we change things too much, we're going to alienate the population that we already have, and then they're going to leave and they're going to get mad. And so that consistency is good because you're going to be able to keep people employed at the company, right? You're going to be able to keep making the damn thing in the first place. But it also sets expectations for players in terms of knowing pretty much where things are and what kind of content you're going to get going into the future. And I think a lot of the Destiny fatigue is pretty similar. Is just it knows what it is. Destiny knows what it is. It's this. It's not getting too drastically changed. Maybe after Final Shape, that's when they can do a little more experimenting. They've been doing some experimenting this year with the season stuff. But it knows what it is. And after 10 years, 9 years, there's only so many things that Bungie could do to keep people and certain people entertained. Some people are just going to love the game no matter what. They're just completely in love with it. And then some people are going to be not as crazy about things anymore, and because they just get too used to it and they want to experience some kind of a shift. Sorry, that was pretty long-winded.
No, I mean, it's a good point. I think the reason, I think for me, why I just don't enjoy it, and it's because of me and the way I operate, is just nothing keeps my attention that long. So even when I'm like, yo, this is sick, if they just kept updating this, man, that'd be great. I haven't found the game where it's like, this is everything I've wanted, and all they have to do is just give me more stuff. It doesn't even have to be out of the box.
Riot MMO.
That's the copium train I'm on right now.
MMO.
I'm hanging on.
2029.
Yeah. If my career lasts until then, catch me in the MMO, trust me. But so that's, I think, why I struggle, because for me, I play a game, ooh, cool, interesting. All right, I think I'm done with it. Pretty much from then on out, I'm not coming back. These new updates, you might get me a little bit, but it's the same way I know what to expect from the game. And that's what makes it good for some people. For me, that's what sort of loses me, because, okay, well, I already know it. Or it's already solved. It knows what it is, and I know what it is. So I think that's the problem. For me, my monkey brain just worked better when there was more big things than some lulls, big things, lulls, because I just jump from place to place. But I understand for somebody who just loves Destiny, that these seasons probably just been your jam. These last couple of years have probably been great. Exactly what you're looking for.
Consistent. Very consistent, yeah.
And so I think that's where I come from too, where it's just it makes sense why they do it. It just doesn't appeal to me. Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah, literally. I mean, that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And to your point as well about wanting to keep your fan base happy. It's like what Fortnite did. I forget the update, but when they made an update, took out the pump shotgun or something, added X amount of things, what they essentially did was we want to make it more casual because it's a little too competitive. Mm-hmm. But then they alienated all their competitive players and ended up hurting the game. And, Fortnite never had that same, because, I mean, revenue-wise, it's obviously doing fine. Player count, obviously doing fine. But it never got back to its grasp on, media because, think about all the top streamers. They're not just casuals. They were competitive. They were playing in certain ways.
Are we talking about Fortnite?
Yeah.
My brother in Christ. This is not the comparison you think it is.
No,
Fortnite,
that's exactly
the cultural phenomenon that it might have had a big, what you're talking about, might have had a massive grasp on the internet culture. But Fortnite didn't need Twitch, nor did it need YouTube creators.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they learned that if they do something just like that, their competitive players aren't just going to stay if they change things. They change things to make it more casual to appeal to a newer audience, and they lost a lot of their older audience because of it. I mean, the game's fine, obviously. That's what I'm saying.
They lost all that audience to the degree of the game growing exponentially. So
But it
it's
actually,
hard.
statistically, it's never gotten back to where it was. I watched a whole
Has
video
it?
essay on this thing. Yeah, I
because
did.
because
Really interesting.
maybe to that degree, but culturally Fortnite is like there's nothing larger than it. And
No.
maybe it peaked in a way from the internet that it never reached again. But like that's still like damn the biggest shooter in the world, if not the biggest, like if not arguably the biggest game in the West. Couldn't
Mhm.
peak beyond its peak that was unheard of is like a little redundant to me.
Okay,
Well,
And
I
it's
but
think
not
it's
I think
because of
you're
also
the competitive loss. If anything, the casual focus is exactly why it's still so successful today when it has its longevity.
okay, but I
I
think
think
you're extrapolating a point I'm not trying to make.
Yeah,
My point
extrapolate was done.
was what Datto was saying, where like you're trying to appease the audience you have. Fortnite made a drastic change and lost that audience. Like I said, Fortnite's fine. But they learned during that update that you can't just change for the sake of change and expect those same people to stay. So you have to decide what do you want to go for. And the more broader audience, that was part of why they did it, because the broader audience are more likely to spend money. The competitive people aren't buying all the skins and all that kind of stuff. They're playing the game a different way. The broader audience is where the money is. But the point was, if you make an update, you make a drastic change, you have to assume you're going to lose this whatever group of people, and they're going to leave. They're not going to stay just because, like, well, it's Fortnite. They're going to move on to something else.
I think my issue is more with the language of that they learned from a mistake type of language, whereas knowing Epic Games from Paragon, everything about it was definitely calculated from my experience with Epic. So
it's very possible that they made a calculated move of like, yeah, we're gonna make a lot of people mad, but also we're gonna
that's where I'm
gain
at. Yeah, that's my
more.
point.
I think that is one instance like where the move was essentially more tactical, but because Fortnite is such this gigantic sensation, like it didn't really feel like it affected the overall. Whereas like something like Destiny or Apex Legends or like whatever these, not
They don't
as
have the
popular as
broad reach
they,
that would allow
exactly.
them to make that mistake.
Yes, yeah. But even going back to like the whole peaking, like a game peaking situation, like if we just look at Fortnite's, I'm not trying to compare Fortnite to Destiny in terms of like where they hit peaks and stuff like that, but rather like the percentages. Like if we were going to take Fortnite's percentages within Fortnite and then Destiny's percentages within Destiny, like they both had like you hit these peaks, these absolute pinnacle moments, and even Fortnite has come down percentage wise, probably in a similar way that Destiny has, um, in terms of like how well received the game was at any one particular moment. Like when was Fortnite really super popping off? Was end of season 1, beginning of season 2, something like that?
I'm trying to think, like 20.
I know it was
It was
early.
like 2018. I feel like that
Yeah,
was the pop off. I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
and they've definitely not gotten back to that in terms of like overall media. So granted, I haven't. The last time I played was like they brought back no build for a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is fun. This is back to like when I used to when I used to play, and building consisted of like, all right, I'm going to put one wall
Stairs.
here, and then I'm going to put one wall here, and then I'll put one wall here, and that was it. And so, but yeah, even something like Fortnite has, within its own popularity, probably not come back to that peak moment because Fortnite, again, kind of it knows what it is. Although I know it's been doing some pretty interesting stuff with like creator tools. Like, isn't there some
Yeah,
company now
facts.
that's like they make games within Fortnite or something like that?
Well, it's actually kind of insane. Yeah, they made. I think it's just like Fortnite Unreal Engine or Unreal Engine Fortnite or something. But it's
Mhm.
like a whole system now. That's like, imagine like Halo Forge, but like on roids.
Yeah.
Where they essentially give it like you have Unreal Engine and some sort of these tools, but then you make experiences. I think that's what they're like called or whatever. But like a game or whatever, and then you upload it, and then depending on like how many people play it and stuff, you actually get like revenue share. You'll get like 20% or whatever. And so now there are like, of course, why wouldn't you? Like people trying to capitalize that are like making, like they're recruiting some of the best modders or like the best things to like get a conglomerate to like try and game the system and like, hey, let's get the best and the most. Because like Only Up Fortnite or whatever that came out after Only Up, I forget like how many millions that dude made in like the first week of just upload it and put it on that. And then so then everyone saw that. It's like it's like the gold rush right now.
I mean, it essentially sounds like they're trying to Roblox their own game, which is really smart because Roblox I know makes millions and millions and millions of dollars despite their own. I've seen some other YouTube video essays on Roblox and how it's a little sketch over there. So hopefully it's on Fortnite. It's not as sketch of a situation. But yeah, I mean, the community is going to be able to create content, en masse so much more than the
You just
Fortnite
give them
devs are.
tools, and they'll do it for you. And the thing too is like it's genius as well because just like that, oh, I can take my Goku skin and use it in all these things. It's not like separate, so it's even more incentive, of course, for people to buy things because you get to use them in all these different places.
Yeah,
it's insane.
it also goes into the Baldur's Gate stuff that you and I talked about recently, and it's like Baldur's Gate 3 is like sweeping the gaming world, but also like if they just did something where you could make your own D&D adventures, like they just gave you like here's all the textures, here's all the assets, here's like a free range map making mode where you can like assign XYZ things and you can as the DM control the baddies and then you have your players come in and everything's just like automatic. You can just click buttons. Everything looks nice. Like the possibilities there for people to make D&D modules and then even like sell them is just like so crazy. So yeah, I know a lot of people have been asking like when's Destiny getting Forge, and I'm just like the game I don't think has the architecture for it was never set up for that, and I think you would need to do so much like you need to spend years creating some kind of a module to be able to allow something like that to happen within Destiny as it's currently built. I feel like it's never felt like it's been set up to have that kind of experience. But it's, maybe that is something Bungie is looking at. Like, is that even possible for people to do? Is that even within the realm of like, yeah, we could create something that allowed players to kind of make their own stuff. I don't know. But yeah, Fortnite that's a good move. Not only does that like help your community, but man, I feel like it helps content creators a ton as well because they get to showcase all these different new modes and things and blah blah blah. And so yeah, that's pretty cool.
Also, technically 2021 was Fortnite's peak, where it has the most concurrent and monthly active players, and it also reached its highest ever revenue share at $5.8 billion in 2021. What the that's so much money.
That is a crazy amount of money. Yeah. Damn. 2021 really was that recent. Wow. I feel like everyone thinks of I feel like everyone thinks of like the times like Ninja like as that being the peak. So that's so interesting to me hearing like nope, it was actually 2021 that like I guess in terms of like revenue and player counts and all that kind of stuff that was the peak. I think
Epic Games just be printing money, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that was 2 years ago, 2021.
Yeah. I think as a society, we think of Fortnite peaking with like the ninja stuff and all that. But that's, I mean, even there is like, I didn't know that. I didn't 2021. That's crazy.
Because Fortnite's what, like 7 years old almost? Maybe?
It's pretty old.
Either it's 6. It's 6 at the least because Apex
coming up
is
on
6.
5
has
coming
to
up on
be.
6.
It has to be more than 6 because Apex Legends.
Oh
had their
well,
6th anniversary.
2017 is when they launched the before all the BR stuff. So yeah, it's been
Save the
6.
world. Yeah.
Like,
I just think of like
6
Fortnite
years?
like before and after BR, and I just don't think about the before BR.
I don't think
Awful.
anyone thinks of it before BR at all. I mean, before BR, it was a game that was
Hey.
basically
As
hanging
the
on by a
video
thread.
I recorded with C Nanners. Love Fortnite Save the World. That's the only thing I remember about it.
I mean, I like tower defense games a lot, so I think conceptually I was into it, but I just never got around to it. And I know it's not technically like, well, I don't know. Is it technically a tower defense game?
I mean,
It's like sorta,
sort of. I guess.
vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah. How loose you go tower defense.
Okay.
Well, because I guess we would act as the towers. I don't know if there was. I don't remember if there was like actual.
Yeah.
There had to have been like machine gun things.
What
you
I'm
built or
saying
something, but-
is Destiny needs tower defense. Balloons in Destiny 1. Because no meme, that might pop off.
User-generated content is what allows what would otherwise be games that just fizzle into like nothing, or just like forgotten about, or just sort of, take a stroll into the sunset. Like, look at Gary's mod. What the? That thing is probably never gonna die. And then you got this whole skibbity toilet thing, so of course stonks back up.
Yeah.
But like Halo
Dude,
sort of learned that.
StarCraft Arcade.
Hey,
OG
I'm
StarCraft.
yeah, I'm ready to just get absolutely destroyed again. But like Halo learned that too, especially with Infinite, deciding to not start with Forge. Definitely a hit, because now there's some stuff I see, because they eventually released Forge with a beta recently, and by that I mean within the last year. But then again, Fortnite's 7 years old, so my sense of time at this point is the gaming world. Who knows? But some of the stuff they do are insane. But it's sort of the same thing. Well, who's there to play it now? Like,
Right.
the people who tried it, gave it a chance, and left. Me, if it was me, being like, dude, you gotta come back to Halo Infinite. Check out this Forge mode. Probably not gonna bring it back. And that's
you
what
really
had
need some kind of viral big
Yeah.
thing to really pop off, and then that's when you're gonna
that's what
see people
had
come.
Halo 3, Halo Reach. What their longevity was is like the Forge system, and then people learn from that. And so like Destiny, maybe that's not, like they don't maybe 1-to-1 a Forge system, because maybe it just doesn't really work or something. But as a lot of games have found, an easy way to get more content and to get your community more engaged. What better way than to have your community, more or less make the stuff?
Yeah.
So, yeah, who really knows? I feel like the tough part too is like if Destiny announces a Forge-like mode, sort of the same thing. They either need to, with release, already have a whole bunch of stuff created. Otherwise, it's sort of that situation like, okay, cool, but I'm going to wait until somebody makes something. Because like majority of the people don't actually use Forge. They utilize the stuff made through Forge.
Right.
So that would sort of be one of the
It's a very
things.
small amount of people who even bother to make something, and then of that very small percentage, there's a very small percentage that makes something good.
Yeah, I tried Forge way back when. I'm like, yeah, I'll just stick to playing them
for it. Yeah, I don't have the brain for it. I don't have the creativity. Some people just get so creative with things, and I'm just like, I never, ever would have thought of this thing that somebody made in my life.
Any other thoughts, though, I guess, any of that, or like Destiny as a whole? Anything else?
I mean, I think people are very receptive to this season. I think this season's launch has gone over pretty darn well. For me, I'm just kind of like, I don't really have much desire to play like a bunch of the other stuff that like gives pinnacle rewards, because like I don't need pinnacle rewards anymore. So even getting people to like run a Nightfall is kind of like, who wants to run a Nightfall? Like, oh, nobody, because we have 1810. Okay. But in terms of like the season theming and flavor and the activities, the new exotics, the new aspects, like all of that kind of stuff is just like cranking on full cylinders. Like it has been phenomenal. There's been some, a couple things here and there, like, oh, what they do to this exotic and like whatever. But overall, I think community sentiment towards the season itself is pretty good. It's pretty good to start it off, which is very encouraging to see, especially considering the past 2 months or so. It's been pretty dire, but yeah, I think this season's launch has been like probably one of the best season launches that we've had in a long time.
I'm pogging out of my mind.
Like immediately out of the gate, people are like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." So, very encouraging to see.
That is good to hear. Then we got one more season before final shape.
Very interested in season 23 because that's where the full brunt of the seasonal model is getting kind of boring feedback is going to be introduced. Sorry, Blue, I think you were trying to say something.
I'm still waiting for the update for Guardians to have sex.
That is fair.
That's what you were hoping for in the final shape reveal. That was
The
your
final
checklist.
shape was just the shape. Yeah, I was gonna say the final shape is just a big fucking phallic shape.
I mean, to be fair, did you see the Witnesses monolith off there in the distance? I'm just saying.
Do you think because like the entire population genocided to become him? Do you think like they gain all the inches?
Great question. Let's dissect that.
I don't
Let's
know.
ask
Or is it
Bife.
just the average conglomerate?
Do you think the tip of his dick also has like
little
other
smoky
smoky tips of other people's dicks
Yeah,
going?
Oh my god, I hope so.
Now we're asking. I mean, we better have some closure.
And
on that.
I'm back in, baby.
That's the raid boss. Okay, sick.
Instead of pubes, it's just faces.
All right. Anything else?
No,
Any of us
I don't
want
think
to
so.
touch on?
No, I think that was
I'm
solid.
not just Destiny. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
mean-
No, I'm pretty good.
The Fall Guys Final Fantasy update dropped. You guys should play with me so you could do a clickbait video where it's like, we finally play Final Fantasy 14 with Blue.
Armored Core
Fall
6
Guys.
came out today.
Oh my god, and it looks so good.
I haven't looked at anything
yeah.
regarding the game. It might be another one of those games like Remnant 2 where I just hear everybody talking about it. I'm like, I literally have no idea what this is. Let's just go in completely blind and I'll love it. But I'm literally drowning in Destiny stuff right now. So it's going to be something I get to like a month from now.
But Season
at
of the
best.
Deep was last week, Datto.
Thanks. I have played Starfield, and I can say that it is definitely a video game that exists.
Oh boy.
Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying I literally can't say anything else. So
Oh, NDA.
Oh,
I get it,
NDA,
I get it.
yeah,
okay.
very NDA. So
was
broad
gonna be like,
stroke.
oh,
It's a video
no.
game that is. I have played.
You played it.
I have it.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Okay.
But I finally got around to a little bit of that. Feel like we're in a little bit of a lull, media-wise, with all the strikes, because we are starting to see.
Oh yeah.
We're hearing more about X is delayed to this time in 24, and X is delayed for all these
Dune
strikes.
just got delayed. Yeah.
And it's starting to look like, yeah, I think it was like Dune Part 2, where I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Where it's probably going to be a weird fallish season. Probably just a lot of re-releases. Because right now, no big studios want to release their new projects right now. Given that, like, they can't have people doing all the marketing and whatnot. And we've been seeing some people fail. So, like, prepare for Barbie to re-release like 4 times. It'll be like the extended kin cut.
I still need to go
the
see
black
it,
and
that and
white.
Oppenheimer. I've been waiting for Danielle to get some free time. She's in LA right now with the Valorant Champions, whatever thingy.
Is she there just like attending?
Yeah, she has
wanted
like
to.
a bunch of my friends. My friend Nano works at Riot now, and we have a bunch of game dev friends who are really into Valorant, so they're down there watching it now. Although my agent was able to get sent us an email like, "Hey, anyone going to Valorant Champions stuff? We got tickets if you want them." So she was like, "Hell yeah, I do." So I think she's going with Nano right now.
Yeah, I was watching the games yesterday. Would have liked to go, just didn't line up. And then the problem is, I was like, I'll go next year, but it's like the Champion World Tour, so I'm assuming it's not going to be in America.
Mm-hmm.
But c'est la vie. Aside from that,
I'm just saying, I know people. All right, I know people.
I don't.
And if we need to make something happen, I can try and make something happen.
We'll see.
We'll see.
He knows a guy. With that, though, I think that'll conclude it. Typically, we do a Q&A, but I'm going to be honest. I don't know where it is or where we're at right now.
Hey, keep it short and sweet. I respect it.
So we'll do extra Q&As next week with Rob's back. Because I also missed, I think, last week's Q&A. Datto, thank you very much for taking your time. I know you've been very busy recently and will be, especially all this Destiny stuff. So thank you for taking time.
He will continue to be busy.
Appreciate you.
We got another couple weeks of being busy. So basically, after the raid is when I get to be free for a little bit.
Well, then enjoy your R&R when you can.
Thank you.
Keep being the beautiful son of a gun you are. Blue, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for being here with us. Rob, wherever you are.
Rob, thanks for finally getting some sleep.
He is still with us. He's just not here. Okay, he's just not here right now. And thank you to everybody for supporting GG Over Easy, whether you watch or listen, wherever you consume it. We appreciate you. We will see you guys in the next episode. Farewell.
See.